Back to the daily grind. The channel's getting false flagged by triggered trolls, so make sure you subscribe to the new channel. Let's get to the MMA news. Stipe Miocic is coming out, and he's not too happy with Jon Jones. He took it personal what Jon Jones had to say when Jon Jones was explaining why he'd rather fight Brock Lesnar over Stipe Miocic in the super fight. And Jon Jones was pretty much saying Stipe's irrelevant compared to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's got way more fans, more of the general public knows who Brock Lesnar is. So in order for it to be a super fight, it's got to be really, two huge stars. And he feels like, Jon Jones feels like he's a huge star. But what about Stipe? If you look at his Twitter followers, he's only got like 100,000 compared to someone like a Junior Dos Santos who he just beat, who's got 1 million. So even though Twitter followers don't mean everything, it does somewhat gauge the fans' interest in you. So when Stipe Miocic comes out, and he took it personal though when Jon Jones said he was pretty much irrelevant and he would rather fight Brock in a super fight. He also said Brock's the easier fight, and that's, there's some truth to that too, as far as compared to Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic, he's got those overall MMA skills that Jon Jones doesn't as much have to worry about with Brock Lesnar, who's a little bit more one-dimensional with the wrestling. So this is what Stipe Miocic had to say. He definitely took it personally. I read a book called The 4 Agreements. It tells you don't take anything personal. Your life will go a lot better. And that shit, I fucking low-key try to live by that shit. But Stipe Miocic clearly don't. He took this shit personal. But that's all good, because him taking it personal might increase the traction on this fight, man. Shit, I don't know if motherfuckers need to go follow Stipe's ass, because I low-key want to see this fight now, because man, that would be a good fight. Could Jon Jones, the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time, really fucking do it against Stipe if he put on some weight? Fuck. Or would it fucking be bad news bears for Jon Jones? Ooh, fuck, that would be terrible to see him go in there and, just get fucking demolished by ooh, that would suck. But ooh, it would be crazy though. It would be crazy. It would be a spectacle. So for me, it would be a super fight as a hardcore fan. But not to the general public, not to someone like the microwave or your casual, someone you talk to that's a casual fan. Ask them who Stipe Miocic is. They'll tell you, they might be able to tell you the heavyweight champion. They definitely won't be able to tell you his last opponent. And Jon Jones didn't really say the word irrelevant when he was talking to Stipe Miocic, but he said Stipe is relatively unknown to the general public. And so that's where the Twitter conversation comes in. The general public, that's what Twitter really does. It gauges the general public's interest in you. Hardcore fans might not follow you on Twitter, but they're still gonna watch your fights. They don't care about your Twitter. The general public is your Twitter followers. The people with the high amount of Twitter followers are the people that are the fan favorites, the people that the casual fans tune in for. That's really pretty much what that translates into. So Brock Lesnar, if you go gauge by general public interest or Twitter followers, has way more than Stipe Miocic, which is what Jon Jones is talking about when he says he's relatively unknown to the general public. But that's not how Stipe Miocic took it. Listen to what Stipe had to say. He said, listen, I'll fight anyone. If the UFC wants me to fight Jon, I'll fight him. All I care about right now is breaking that record, winning now and keeping the belt for a long time. I think I am relevant. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't have as many fans as him on social media maybe, but I'm pretty sure I'm relevant. I'm the baddest man on the planet for a reason. He can think whatever he wants. Listen, at the end of the day, I am relevant. You see how he kept restating I am relevant? Like, Jon Jones didn't say you were irrelevant. He said you're relatively unknown to the general public. But he took it personal, so he kept repeating I am relevant. And yes, you are relevant as the heavyweight champion. But to the general public, you are relatively unknown, which is what Jon Jones said. And this is what he had to say about being a risk compared to Brock Lesnar. I'm definitely a 100% bigger risk than Brock Lesnar. There's no question. And because Jon Jones, he was saying that Brock Lesnar's a lower risk fight, higher reward, which is true. And that's really what most champions go for, low risk, high reward fights. That's what Bisping and GSP are doing essentially, even though they're thank you to Tyron Woodley for this fucking argument. It's really going to be used to make the fight. This is because it made the fight for me. This is why I agree on this fight. They're coming back to collect on the sport that they helped build. They want some of them big pay-per-view dollars. So this is what Stipe Miocic continued to say, it would be a huge fight. I don't understand why you don't think it would be a huge fight. You've got the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world against the number 4 pound-for-pound fighter. We're both champions, and it's a fight people want to see, but I'm irrelevant right now, so we'll see. And what I'll say to that is that's not always the case, because what about Demetrius Johnson? This was his argument. You know, you've got the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world versus the number 4 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Well, Demetrius Johnson has had that number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world ranking for a while John Jones was out, and that didn't make any of the general public give a shit. Yes, it makes the hardcore fans care. It would be a huge fight for the hardcore fans. That's that, though. It wouldn't be just a huge fight generally to the general public. It would be the only reason it would be a huge fight to the general public really is because it would be a John Jones fight. The casual fan, the microwave, it's gonna be so funny when we start our show, and I've referred to him as the casual fan so fucking much. The casual fan, they would watch the fight because it's a John Jones fight. Stipe Miocic would not add near as many eyes as John Jones. Now, when you get Brock Lesnar versus John Jones, that's a whole fucking clash of general public fans. If you were to estimate the pay-per-view buys of John Jones versus Stipe, it might be around the same as John Jones versus DC. Because they had a rivalry, Stipe and John don't, but it's champion versus champion. If you get Brock Lesnar versus John Jones, you're going to fuck around and do some Conor McGregor numbers, maybe bigger. You might beat one of Conor McGregor's recent pay-per-views or some shit. You might hit 2 million buys with John Jones versus Brock Lesnar. You might double, you know what I'm saying, 60%. That's what I'm saying. So you get that. So this is what he continued to say. And just to finish up and go back to the point, just because you're both pound for pound best fighters in the world doesn't make you a huge draw. It does make it a huge fight for us hardcore fans. So he said, I feel I match up well. I feel I match up well against anyone. I have a terrible style to deal with, and I always come in to fight prepared. I have the best coaches and teammates in the world, so no matter what it is against who, I'm walking out the winner. And he said, I'll fight anyone. If the UFC wants me to fight John Jones, I'll fight John Jones. If they want me to fight Cain Velasquez, I'll fight Cain Velasquez. If they want me to fight Anthony Joshua, I'll fight Anthony Joshua. I really don't care. I'm a professional fighter. I'm a fighter. I don't call out people. Whoever you want me to fight, I'm going to fight. I don't care. Okay, that last statement right there, let's get to that for a second. He said, I don't call out people. Whoever you want me to fight, I'm going to fight. I don't care. That's not going to help you get the John Jones fight. The general public likes it when you call out people. Brock Lesnar, you know what John Jones just did? He called out Brock Lesnar. That's why people were like, holy shit. You know what Brock Lesnar did? He responded. He didn't just sit and wait on the call. Oh, I'm the baddest man on the planet. I'll wait on the UFC to call me. No, he responded. Be careful what you wish for. That's the type of shit that gets the general public interested. So when you say you don't call people out, you fight who you want, whoever they want you to fight. Well, they're not going to want you to fight John Jones. They're actually probably going to want you to fight Francis Ngannou. So we'll see how that does on the pay-per-view, Stipe versus Francis, compared to Brock Lesnar versus John Jones. Yeah, no, let's not do that. But that's man, the way he ended that right there, it really kind of fucking puts a bow on this. I don't call out people. Whoever you want me to fight, I'm going to fight. I don't care. That's usually the sign of a fighter that's not a big draw. All the people that aren't really big draws, that's what they say. Like who? Demetrius Johnson. I don't care who I fight. I'll just fight anybody. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and fight. That's who Stipe's reminded me of, Demetrius Johnson. You know, he's thinking that he deserves to be in a super fight because the fact he's the pound for pound best fighter in the world, or he deserves to be paid for a super fight. You know what I'm saying? Instead of calling people out and making yourself, getting those followers, which means getting the general public to care, getting the casual fans to care. That's how you do it, by calling people out. So when you say you don't call people out, that's why John Jones says you're relatively unknown to the general public. That's what it is. And so Stipe's got to be careful here. Since he doesn't call people out, he can't switch it up just for John Jones and start calling out John Jones, because John Jones is the littler guy. Before he calls out John Jones, he's going to have to call out a heavyweight. Like, Cain, I'm fucking waiting for you. You ain't got nothing on me. You need to heal up so I can send you back to back to recovery. If he said some shit like that, that would be huge. Stipe Miocic. But he can't just do it at John Jones first, because John Jones is a smaller guy. John Jones is a light heavyweight. If your MO has never been to call people out, You can't start calling out a smaller guy. Like, I don't call anyone out, but you know what? I'll fuck you up, John Jones. You light heavyweight. You know, you can't do that. Not before you start to change your face, to change your look. Stipe, in his next interview, if he says, you know what, I realize I have to call people out if I want to get the big money fights, I'm going to start calling people out. Then he can do that. But he ended this by saying, I don't call people out. Whoever you want me to fight, I'm going to fight, just like Demetrius Johnson. So just like Demetrius Johnson, you're going to get put on the cards wherever they need you, and, you know, you're probably going to have to complain a little bit to get your paycheck. Like, he's already been doing that a little bit too. He complained that his opponent made more money than him twice now. He started to hold out for contracts and hold out for contract negotiations. So, I don't know. That's not a good sign for Stipe Miocic, man. It's not a good sign. For you to not be a draw, you can't really just hold out yet. Because I don't know. I just feel weird about this for Stipe Miocic. I mean, I don't know if you guys are going to turn on him. I'm not yet, but I hope he doesn't. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from here, who his next fight is. I hope it's not Anthony Joshua. He says Cain Velasquez, which that's another interesting thing to get to. I guess we could do that here instead of making a Cain Velasquez video. Fuck it. Cain Velasquez, when is he coming back? Cain Velasquez, he's been injured for so damn long, and when he comes back, it'll probably be for the title shot. Will he be healthy? Will he come back and look like John Jones? Will he come back and be hurt? Who knows what's going to happen with Cain Velasquez? Will he be ready to fight before Junior gets a shot? Will Cain Velasquez be ready to fight at the end of the year, maybe after Madison Square Garden in December? Can we get a Cain Velasquez update? Is he, has anyone heard from Cain? Is he doing good? Is he training? I mean, I would love to see Stipe versus Cain. Whew. That would be great. I don't give a damn. And that would damn near be like John Jones versus Cain as far as casual fans, because casual fans give a fuck about Cain Velasquez and not so much about Stipe. So you got one draw versus a guy that's the champion, which would be like John Jones versus Stipe. One draw versus a champion, which Brock Lesnar would be a draw versus a draw. So you can be a champion, a draw, or you know what I'm saying? And so that would be a fucking right there. Boom. You can put that on a big card. Steve fucking around and get some pay-per-view points versus Cain, and you could still have Jones in his respective division unless he's fighting Brock. So it is what it is, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, there's not many events going on as far as UFC fights actually, but there's a lot of stuff that could be shaken out in these next few weeks as far as news, as far as fights being announced. Is Cain Velasquez coming back being announced? There's a lot of stuff that we need some clarity on. I'll be looking forward to. So it is what it is. Let the haters know what the fuck you think about whatever the fuck you want, because I talked about a lot of shit in this video in the comments. I couldn't figure out why the baseball kept getting larger, and then it hit me.